Hello everyone, it's another week of Double Cross Anime where we, Mario and Whooper, will cover some anime with obscure title like Hirozuku, the words with too many colors that we can apply, run like the wind, fly like the butterfly, or Jumbling Saga and Circus.
Indeed.
And we're gonna go to the end of Lain as well this week.
Right.
So, Whooper, which obscure title that you want to start first?
Obscure title.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're living in a post streaming world.
Yeah.
And a post. There are 10 different chart website world.
Yep.
I don't know if any anime are obscure anymore.
Oh, and we managed to pass some of the other obscure title like Benigo Senpai.
I think that's one of the more popular ones.
That is one of the more popular one. I agree.
I mean, of course it is. It's about a lonely quote unquote nerd who has a whole bunch of cute girls wanting to hang out with him. And
one of them, for some reason, wearing the Benigo's suit.
Yeah, for some reason.
And she's basically just hanging around the library.
Right. Oh yeah, what show are we supposed to do first? That's a good question. Back on track.
Yeah.
I don't know. You pick, man. I don't know.
Alright, let's pick with Hirozuku this week.
Okay, episode 5.
Episode 5 of Hirozuku, which is about the...
it's a show about nothing.
It's a show about little things.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Very little things.
Yes, so it's about like the start of the new form club again. With what's the full name?
The Magic Photography Art Club.
That's right. For some reason, the magic come first, and she become very popular.
Because she's the best.
She's the best. That's I agree. She's my queen. She always is my queen. Yeah, and she, they started a club, and they come together for a dinner, for like of informal dinner, where
the food is all brown on the table, which apparently really upsets what's her face.
Asagi.
Yeah, Asagi, that's right. She thinks that the president is being too considerate by putting out a bunch of food that doesn't have much color.
Yeah.
When the reality is, if Hitomi is colorblind, then it doesn't matter what kind of food he puts out. It won't be. There's no consideration to be had. Like, she just can't see color, period.
You got the point there.
But she's so in love with this guy that she can't activate that logical reasoning part of her brain, I guess.
Okay, so what we talked about last week when the show decided to pairing up all the cast.
Yeah.
So yes, that happened, and yes, we see like the one side love of Asagi to show, and we see little thing of show interested to Hitomi. I don't know if they're gonna push that forward.
I think they will later.
Or they're gonna just stop here because basically Asagi, like jealousies, quote unquote, is pretty much done. So she have like her little like rescues, like her little complaint. She moping around, and she already like get over it at the end of the episodes.
You think she's really over it? I mean, she asks him to help out with the production of those like rabbit postcards.
Yep.
Because she's reluctant to like share her photography with people. Yep. But then she like works up the nerve to ask him, "Hey, will you help me make some postcards out of these pictures I took?" I mean, just the fact that she's done that and plucked up that little bit of courage, I don't think indicates that she's she's
Get over
over,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
her crush on this guy or her jealousy of Hitomi. Because if the president keeps like making eyes at Hitomi and setting out a bunch of brown food on the table, and she'll probably still be upset.
All right. Do you think that show had any interest to Hitomi?
Yes, of course. The show's
Yeah.
just not. Yeah, I mean, Irazuku's just not making him into like a blushing exposition fountain and
Yeah.
spelling out to another character, "Oh man, I really think Hitomi has got it going on."
Mm.
Instead, he just like casts little smiles at her, like from across the room sometimes.
All right. Because for me, it wasn't pretty clear that show has any feeling to Hitomi at the moment.
It was or it wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I mean, he's not. There's no heart. His eyes aren't being replaced by hearts, and he's not sticking out his tongue and drooling all over the place. But that doesn't mean like. I mean, he's always next to her. He's always figuring out a way to talk to her and to like help her because she's a new member of the club. That's been going on for like 3 or 4 episodes in a row, probably.
All right.
And that's what you do if you're interested in a girl. You find, you talk to her. You find things to talk to her about, ways to interface with her.
Right. All right. And then we have Hitomi and Aoi, who's so she makes something for him.
Yeah, the star sand.
Yeah. The which is what was the effect again?
Yeah, it was a little vague. I think that there's a conversation near the end of the episode between Kohaku and Hitomi explaining that the star sand is for like a change of pace.
Yeah. So it was very much like mood entering for me. It's like like before you sleep, just get it out, and it have like on the star skies. It it just basically it. You look
Yeah.
at it, you feel relaxed.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be any sort of world shaking stardust or whatever, star sand, whatever it's called. But I mean, obviously she has an ulterior motive, and she's not even subtle about it. Whenever she sees him, she asks him, so how's that drawing coming along? How you doing on that drawing? So she's given him this star sand so that hopefully it will like cause some change in his life, and he'll be more motivated to
drawing again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I have no complaint regarding that note because he to me is on way of characters that have no motivation. So it's actually pretty good to see have a motivation for something.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a good thought. It's a good way of thinking about it. But you're always talking about whether characters are like active or passive and all that.
Yeah,
so I'm sure you want her to be more involved and like have a goal and go after it. Whereas I don't mind as much when characters are
just don't do anything.
Well, if a character has any sort of issue, like if there's any sort of problem that they have, that to me is enough. So if her problem is that she can't see color and that she's afraid of talking to people and that she doesn't get any joy out of life, that to me is enough of something to give her character like a place to go and something to resolve. But now she does seem to be pushing past that even.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good because I mean we have like 7 or 8 more episodes, so they need to have something in them. It can't just be.
Yeah, and she interested to do magic again, so that's something worth encouraging.
Yeah, well. And her magic is improved too.
Yeah, that's right.
She gives Sho a little demonstration with all the like the green and orange and purple swirling.
Oh yeah, and she get used to the new life as well. So she helping out with the shop, and she managed to be more useful in the shop.
Yeah.
So yes, she's improving. Irozuku is one of those shows that we have really little thing to talk about because things happen very slowly. It doesn't have much to talk about, right?
I think there's more to talk about.
All right.
In fact, I think
else?
the major theme of this episode to me was struggle.
All
Because
right.
there are three characters who are struggling with their art or their magic or their photography.
Mm. Mm.
One is Hitomi, who's having trouble with her planetarium magic and the star sand
Yep. Yep. Yep.
cooking. She
Mm.
like tries those things and fails, and with the star sand only after multiple attempts, like many
Yep.
many attempts, because we see that box full of all the failed
Yep.
products.
Burned,
Um,
I think.
yeah.
Yep.
And then she can't do the planetarium magic quite right when she tries to demonstrate it to Sho. And
Mm.
then
Yep.
Aoi can't express himself properly via his drawings, like his digital tablet. He's not finding inspiration, or he just can't get the drawings down on there.
Mm.
And then Asagi doesn't want to share her photographs.
Yep.
She doesn't
And
want
see,
anyone to see the things that she takes pictures of. So they're all struggling with their art, and that's the thing that kind of ties all the characters together. Is like photography, that's an art; drawing, obviously an art, and magic is kind of being portrayed as one as well.
that's right. That's right. Yep.
So
Ha-
it's this show kind of reminds me of like I don't know, like a supernatural high school version of Honey and Clover, where all the
oh.
characters are in art school.
Mm.
But I do think there's not as like I wish there were more of a focus on their actual talents, like, and the way they put them to use.
All right. If you're gonna compare this show to Honey and Clover, this show will be pale in comparisons because I think like you say, it need more focus about the art. Also, I think the character interactions of Honey and Clover is way better than this.
Oh, Honey and Clover is most certainly better than this. That's
Yeah.
just where my mind went, because
Mm.
both series are focused on, for in Honey and Clover, what was it? There was sculpture and
Yeah, there was
painting and
what else?
pottery. I think the girl
Pottery. Yeah, pottery.
pottery, yeah. Um,
What's her name?
and
Shimada or something.
I can't remember the names.
Yeah.
I'm
Or
really bad at remembering anime names.
or Yamada or something. Yeah.
Maybe.
And what else? Oh, and one of the guys who won the Oscar for for best visual effect.
Who?
Yeah, that's the
The
guy
black
who
haired
made.
guy? The crazy guy?
Yeah, that's right.
He won an Oscar for best visual effects.
Yeah, that. Well, the show doesn't say it's an Oscar, but it's an Oscar.
Okay.
Uh,
I completely forgot about that. I forgot about
y-
most of that show.
all right, and he basically worked in the product that resemble George Lucas films. So, what Star Wars basically.
I see.
It's kind of fun to see that though. That he won the Oscar, man.
Good for him.
Yep.
Uh, as for this show, I don't think any of these kids are going to be winning any major
Yeah.
awards.
Well, I kind of wish there are some more interactions between like each member of the cast. Also to say that I would say like Hitomi and Asagi, uh, chemistry this week is pretty good.
Hitomi and Asagi?
Yep. We, hmm
Okay, I'm completely blanking on whatever
Right.
conversations they had.
They have a little talk when Asagi came earlier to their house.
Oh
In
yeah,
a,
and she's like, "Oh, I'm an introvert. Sho is my
yeah.
childhood friend. Get away from him,
No.
you floozy."
uh, well, she didn't say exactly that, but but they start to be like warming up and to be more honest to each other.
Yeah, the show's
So
trying to draw a parallel between them because they're both withdrawn and stuff.
yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of appreciate the show for that. But I want more. I want more interaction between them.
Well, I mean, we got a lot more episodes to go, and the show, Irazoku will probably go back to that well.
Well, yeah,
If
but
it,
I don't think that this is one of the show's strong forte though. You as you see, if you put like Kohaku and Aoi together, you don't see like there is like any actual interaction between them.
Yeah, that's true. Although, yeah, I guess. I mean, maybe
Yes.
the show is just trying to quarantine Aoi a little bit so he can be just like reserved for Hitomi or something.
Hmm.
It's not letting
Yeah.
him talk to anybody else. He's just for this one girl.
Yeah. No. Because if they want, if they're gonna show like the actual chemistry between Kohaku and Aoi, it might be more interesting for us to watch than with
Wait,
Hitomi and Aoi.
is there any sort of chemistry between
No.
them that was hinted at in the past?
No. No. They haven't. So I don't think they're gonna try.
I kind of feel like Kohaku might wear Aoi out. He'd spend like 30 seconds with her and be like, "Oh man, I'm exhausted. I cannot keep up."
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems to be that kind of guy. He like rarely ever makes a facial expression that isn't just, boredom. Whereas
Well,
she's
because-
always smiling and acting cute and stuff.
Well, because he's the one who in the world of his own. So he want to draw for himself. He want to be in this world, in that world. So maybe that's why when Kohaku came back, that he just doesn't have any time to think about his stuff. So he struggle.
There you go. There's the struggling theme again. That was the thing about the episode that I noticed was that like, and I mean maybe the show will push in this direction a little more. I kind of doubt that it will. It may have just been incidental, like a coincidence. But there were like 3 of the different kids who were having a hard time achieving their their desired
Yep.
result. So
That's
maybe it'll keep cropping up.
Yep. That's a good observation, though.
Why? Thank you.
Mm.
You have to work pretty hard to think to find something to talk about when discussing this show instead of just, man, the backgrounds were real nice.
Yep. Agree. Mm.
Oh yeah,
Anything else?
Pocky too. I'm pretty sure this show is sponsored by Pocky.
Is it?
Yeah, there was Pocky in this episode again. And in the past they've used Pocky as like magic wands
Yep.
and stuff. Product placement in anime, that's becoming more and more common, I think. Ever
Yeah.
since Code Geass with their Pizza Hut product placement in the mid
Which one, sorry?
2000s. Code Geass.
Go yes.
Yeah, that show was sponsored by Pizza Hut. Characters were constantly eating Pizza Hut.
Huh.
Maybe constantly is the wrong word, but in like every few episodes, Pizza Hut was mentioned or depicted.
There you go. All
All
right.
right, do we want to move on to another show?
Yeah, please. So let's get to another show. Let's go with Zombieland Saga.
Oh goodness.
All right.
Oh, speaking
Or-
of shows that are sponsored by things, I'm pretty sure I have a sneaking suspicion that this show is actually produced, like co-produced by the Saga Prefecture.
All right.
Did you ever
Wait.
watch
I-
Poco's Udon World?
Yeah. Yeah.
You did?
Yep.
Okay.
But
That
just
show
a-
that
just
show
a
was
few
co-produced
episode of-
by Kagawa Prefecture, like as a means
Alright.
of increasing tourism and stuff. So I
Yep.
think that might be happening in this show because the two events that they went to are actually real things in Saga
Oh.
Prefecture. I googled them and they're real.
Oh. Didn't know that.
Yeah,
Right.
the drive-in Tori restaurant, the chicken place, that's real, and so are the God Olympics, like the mud sports. That's a real thing.
Yeah. All right. So talking about the episode itself, how do you think about these episodes? Or did the fact that you mentioned or the real activity in Saga Prefecture have anything to do with your feeling about the episodes? In
No,
particular?
not really. I mean, that's just like a little bit of trivia,
Yeah.
I
Right.
guess. That restaurant really exists in Saga, and that those games are held specifically in Saga. It's like an annual event or something.
Mhm.
As
So-
for whether I like the show or not, like I just think the show's this week more than ever, it was just silly. It was just off the wall, and like contrary to the fact that I'm laughing right now, I actually caught myself with like a look of disgust on my face midway through the chicken part when the zombie girl, whose name I don't remember, the one who's still like a full-fledged zombie. What's her name?
Tay.
Sure.
Yeah.
When Tay was chasing around the chicken man, and I'm not sure whether that was like a real chicken or whether there was a guy in the costume. I guess there was a guy in the costume because she bites his tail feathers and like boxer shorts.
Yep.
Are revealed.
Right.
But the show kind of makes it ambiguous as to whether or not there's a person in there because the neck is like really thin and the face looks like an actual face and not a mask. So it's kind of bizarre. But anyway, that whole scene when she's like chasing him around, and the manager, of course, is like, we can use this for the commercial, and he kind of takes over the set. I caught myself looking like really grossed out at my screen. I had like a really sour expression on my face because I didn't think it was funny at all.
All right.
And now remembering my expression is actually making me laugh.
All right. That's not a good word to hear about how you feeling about this show. Well, but actually the fact that you mentioned about the trivia that that actually happened in real life, gave me a bit of respect for the episodes.
Bit of respect. Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise I don't see like there is any merit to put those episodes. I actually admit that the second half was way better than the first half.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah, so I feel like like riding a bike into the mud. What they say, the mud bike.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, the name of the event. Actually, pretty funny. The way that like everyone just keep just keep falling out of the mud. And
yeah.
The actual event where all the girls try and fail, and even to the last minute where Tae basically triumph, we see that it's not anything worth recommending. We see that like way before. I see that coming.
What do you mean it's not anything worth recommending?
All right, and I mean like the actual thing where all the girls trying to do the stuff. It's alright. It's not that good. It's not that refreshing. It still give us some of the laugh, but it's not that that good.
Okay.
It's like five that for me there. So it's and I actually see Thai be like getting the number one spot coming. So it's not that surprising as well.
Yeah, she's the wacky, crazy character. So it it's supposed to cause the biggest laugh when she's the one who succeeds.
That's right. But the thing afterward when like her body basically like fall apart and the girl have to put on the pieces together. Actually, it was pretty funny.
Man, I can't say that I'm there with you.
Yeah. And the fact that like everyone just doesn't recognize that because of the sun.
Well, that's a running gag for the whole show, is that every time it's revealed that they're zombies, there's something that stops people from recognizing it. Except now, at the end of this episode, there's the one guy is like, "Oh, I know her from somewhere."
Yeah.
The show keeps teasing that bigger story.
Yep.
But I'm sure it will deliver on that at its leisure once it's run out of gags and stuff.
Yeah. So compared to the first two episodes, this show have becoming more of like zombie girl as an idol. So
I think this episode was wacky like the first two. It was different and crazy, but I just didn't like it wasn't tied into the music, which is what kind of made the show special to me at first.
Right.
And now it's just LOL. That's so random.
Mhm.
like a lot of anime humor. Oh, that's so crazy and random. Haha.
Funny.
Yeah, it's not really my bag.
Yeah.
I don't think I smiled one time
Yeah.
watching this episode. Nope.
All right. I still enjoy it though.
Good.
Although I feel like I don't have much to remember it for, I still have a good time with it.
I think they may have gotten the actual manager of Drive-In Tori to
Yep.
play the manager
Himself.
in the anime. Yeah, I think so because the way he delivered his lines was like so flat that it was actually kind of refreshing.
Mhm.
He didn't sound like a voice actor who says her lines like this.
Yeah. Or, or even the manager of the crew.
Oh well, it's impossible to sound like him. You have to take a whole bunch of like illegal drugs to even get close to his level.
All right. You have any other things on your note?
No, man.
All right. You're happy to just move on to the next shows.
I'm happy. I'd be happy.
All right.
Happy all the time.
Let's do Run with the Wind.
Yes, my
Is it?
favorite.
All right.
Of course.
All right. Tell me your opinion about these episodes. Still
It's-
good.
Yes, of course. It's still good. It's the best show of the season, and it's not close.
All right.
Actually, I'm not caught up on Gridman, but nothing else is close for me.
Great Man is more love it or had it, so it's more extreme compared to this show.
Yeah. Well,
Being
it's
said-
probably because of its genre.
Yeah. Being said that though, like Haji, he's raised up and the ante again. So
Yeah.
he actually like pushed everyone to practice in the afternoon now, and in the end of the episode, he actually forced everyone to quit their part-time job, or
Well-
even like quit the seminar, some of the seminar that might have gotten into the way of training.
Right. Yeah, he's definitely taken it up a notch.
Yeah. Which, all right, because
That does seem to be a stumbling block for some people. They like can't get over the fact that his character is so pushy, and thinks he knows what's best.
Well,
but I don't. That
yeah.
doesn't stop me from like enjoying the show or his character. I mean, it's true. That's a part of who he is. He is willing to stand on other people's necks
Mhm.
in order to achieve what he wants. But part of what he wants is for them to
everyone.
all cooperate.
Yeah.
And also to prove a point that running is not just for the elite. Like
That's right.
when he's talking to Kakeru in the kitchen at one point, he says to him, "Do you think that only the chosen few should be able to participate? Only the chosen few should be able to run?"
Yep.
Which is in fact how Kakeru how he thinks, because of how gifted he is and how differently he was treated based on his talent by his coach.
And that also due to his environments that he participated before as well. So like in his middle school, he participated in a school where running, where the results are the best, have to be like what the decisive factor. So here it's more refreshing for him to know that it's like it's running is not the result itself. It's more about the actual running together as a
Right.
group.
Right.
That also tying up to one of the character, Nico. He's
Oh
a
my
guy
god,
who's
I love Nico-chan.
yeah. Because like he's what he said to Yuki, the lawyer, that the reason why he want to run is purely because of himself. He purely
Because of his
because
health.
his health. He feel pure when he runs, which is
Right.
a really really good excuse. It's a really good reason for me.
Yeah. Nico, like the thing that I love so much about Nico-chan is that he's like very self-possessed.
Yeah.
He when Yuki tries to like strong arm him conversationally and be like, "Oh, you're not on board with this, right? There's no way you'd be on board with this." Nico like shuts that down completely, and he doesn't make it about like us versus them, or Haiji's plan, or against Haiji's plan.
Mm-hmm.
He's his own person, and he says, I'm doing it because like I like running. It's good exercise. It's good for my health. But you can tell all the same that he has some admiration, like deep down he has some admiration for Haiji, and he wants to participate in whatever dynamic is going
That's
on.
right. That's right.
But he is not obvious about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just by not totally giving in to Haiji's plan, while
Yep.
also maintaining that camaraderie with Yuki, he's showing Yuki like a way forward, not just a way to like pass the time or to make friendships or whatever by running, but he's showing him like a different way to live, even
Mm-hmm.
not by setting himself apart from others or in opposition to others, but just by doing things for himself as an individual.
That's right. And last week we thought that it's Yuki and Busha who like making a, a conflict
alliance?
this week. Yeah,
Against Haiji.
yeah. But turn out it's not them, but it's the king this week.
Right. Yeah. King is the wild card at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is actually bookended by King. He opens the episode, him like looking for a job. That's the opening, and then the ending is him saying to everyone like, "You're crazy. What are you doing following this guy? We have our own lives to live, and I'm not going to give up my life or my time for a pipe dream."
Yeah.
So that's left unresolved. So that's what we'll get next week, I suppose.
That's right. And I think he have his reasons. I just don't like the way. I think this is one of my few complaints of the show so far, is that they make the characters at that point, they antagonize them. Like you see, like I can see the reason behind the king, behind King saying on that, but they also the show also make him like looking very asshole.
Yeah, I
When
like that.
you like that, all right?
Of course. People, when you've got 10 people living in a house together, they're not going to get along all the time. In fact, sometimes they'll be at each other's throats. That's authentic.
Right.
And they're all in college. They're all young and immature.
Yep.
They have a bunch of competing interests. Many of them are in different programs, different fields of study. And they're at different points in their education. Some are freshmen. Some, like King, are in their final year and they need to find work.
Yep.
It makes total sense.
That he making that face.
I think I know what face you're talking about. And yeah, I like it.
All right.
Like for him to be so like vicious and like taking down Haiji's dream, like pretty much spitting on it and stomping on it.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah, I mean I think people do that every day. They're put into situations where they feel like they have to belittle other people and make light of the things they love in order to continue on doing what they're doing. And I'm sure that the show will make a point that that's not the way that you have to live.
All right. Yeah. So that's something we will see in the next episode, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably the very next one. My guess is that by the end of episode 6, King will be like, maybe he won't be like laughing and smiling and hugging everybody, but he will be running regularly with everyone else.
Yeah. But I don't think the next track meet, he's gonna participate though.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I actually now I can get the like on the what to say, like all the requirement to participate into the last tournaments, which is, from what I understand from what Haji and Kakeru been talking about, they have like some several track meets, and from those competition, they have to pass the required time, so that
Right.
everyone passing that, they can be able to be a qualifier.
Right.
So it's not necessary for all of them to be passed the first time around, because I don't think like Prince or King will pass the first time around.
Yeah, it does seem that they have multiple chances because the show right
Mm.
now I think is at the end of April, and it's mentioned that there are going to be a bunch of track meets where they can run in May and June.
That's right. Yeah.
And then maybe the qualifier for the Ekiden is in July, and then the actual Ekiden is like in
It's
the next year, maybe.
the end of the year, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, speaking of Prince, he's just so good. Like all of his like all of his monologue with the dog. It's very much very charming. It go against like all these all the spirit of like of Haji, what Haji was like putting in. Like, it just plays so well with
Yeah,
his character and with the whole thing.
Yeah. It's comic relief,
Yeah,
and
but
it's necessary because there's a lot of tension in this series.
yeah, and it's done right as well.
What, the comic relief?
The comic relief on the on a Prince delivery.
Yeah. He's fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that he's one of my favorites though. I do because the reason I say that is because his personality is even though he's not like really loud and really talkative and really boisterous, he still does have a very big, very dominant personality.
Yep.
In that he's so far on one end of the spectrum.
Yep.
So my favorites are people like Nico-chan
Yep.
and
Yuki.
no, not Yuki. He's cool. I mean, I like all the characters, honestly. All 10. I don't have any issues with the way they're written, any of them. So I like watching all of them. But Nico-chan's one of my favorites. If I were to pick another one, no. I do like Kakeru, mostly for the fact that we just don't get anime characters like him very much. I like what's that guy's name? The little short guy.
Oh, Shindo.
Is that his name?
Is that the one who want to buy the shoes, the sports shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Shindo.
Yeah. I think he's interesting.
He's the one who gets so drunk that he just stand up and talking about how he appreciates the all the running and stuff.
Right, when he's drunk. Yeah.
Yeah. That's him.
Yeah, and his speech there is actually what convinces Musa to like fully buy into the running thing.
Yeah.
Even though Musa and Yuki had like a little thing brewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the note?
Nothing specific. I just like how the show just seems to have a very day by day approach to telling its story.
Yeah.
There are a lot of shows that are 12 episodes long, and they try to cram. There like has to be a milestone moment in every single episode. And I think we've as like modern anime, part of the modern anime audience, we've been conditioned to feel like that's how it's supposed to be. There's supposed to be like a gigantic battle or conflict or moment of some kind in every single episode. And I don't think that's true. And if you tell your story that way, then it's impossible to feel like you're watching real life, because then you're just watching a television show where every single episode is like crazy.
Are you referring to Banana Fish? Because I have that feeling when I watch Banana Fish every single episode.
Well, that's just because it's trying to adapt way too much material way too quickly.
Right.
I think. I wasn't thinking of Banana Fish particularly. I haven't watched Banana Fish in a few weeks, but I'd say that show's definitely guilty.
Yep. Well, as for this series, they try to make a slow burn approach so that we can get into under their shoes, like quite literally. So I think it does a good job at that.
Yeah, I agree. The main thing that I think it does from episode to episode is it some new understanding is or some new dynamic is formed or reached between two characters, at least two characters, every single episode.
That's right.
In this one, I think it was Nico and Yuki. To
Mhm.
me, they were the heart of this episode.
Right.
And it's always like, it's always two. There's always two characters who are at conflict, and then they come to an understanding, or that perhaps they were on the same page and then they break apart. There's always some core to every episode, but it's always the people living in the house.
Yep.
It's not some alien enemy, or like some super powered villain or what have you.
Speaking of aliens, you remind me of that guy in Lanes. We're gonna talk about him.
Right.
All
Or
right.
was the alien Lain all along?
Maybe you. Yeah, maybe. Right.
All right, so Karakuri Circus now?
Yep. All right.
Go for it.
I'm gonna ask you first.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Episode 4.
Yep.
What am I supposed to be answering right now?
Oh, just how you feeling about the episode in general?
I thought it was fine. This one seemed pretty shonen to me.
Yep, it is.
Like Masaru suddenly knowing how to control
Puppetry.
Arlequin, or however you say his name, Shirogane's puppet. That was really dumb. that was stupid.
Uh-huh.
And another thing that was dumb was when he and Ashihana team up.
Yep.
Like the fact that they team up is fine,
Yep.
But there's this scene where they have to like jump from on the back of his puppet. They have to jump onto the pagoda so they can rescue Narumi
Right.
and Shirogane. And
Yeah.
and he's like, "Don't worry, I already calculated the distance. We're gonna be able to make it." And then the show zooms in on Ashihana's face, and he's like, "I can't believe this kid calculated the speed and the distance."
Yeah. That's right. Because
It's really stupid.
I understand the underlying message is that guy, the killer guy, what his name,
Ashihana.
Ashihana, he come to respect the kid for his quality. I can get that message, but the way that the show just try to make him like an genius, of calculating everything, and every single move, every single decision that he make will impress this guy to the point that like we have like the voice over pop up that, oh my god, this kid is so cool. I I just can't buy that at all. So yeah, I agree with you. That was very, very, very stupid. That was very, very cheap. The way the show does that in order for them to sell Masaru ability to us.
Yeah.
And all right. Speaking of Masaru, I think that his character is kind of inconsistent for this episodes. So he like the last episode, he becomes some kind of a beast, just like we said. But then in this episode he goes like he go through a range of emotions. Some of them he become like too naive, that he trusted his uncle, his uncle lies. I think that kind of betray his characters a bit. And then we had him become like some sort of super genius boy, that you just mentioned. That just very, very inconsistent. And then later on when he meet the two characters, the two main characters, he act differently as well. That I can.
How did he act when he met them?
He just kind of emotion. He's like an emo kid. He act
What,
like
just crying and stuff?
yeah, teary eyes and stuff. That I can understand, but like seeing him through all of these episodes, his character seem a bit like not that consistent for me.
Well, they just tried to put too many milestones into one episode.
Yeah, maybe. And you meant to say something before.
I need to say something.
You meant to say something.
Yeah, I guess. I know what you're talking about. Like his characters certainly gave me a little bit of whiplash in this
Right.
episode, but
Yeah.
I don't think that it's senseless. I just think that he moves from environment to environment, like throughout the mansion.
Mm.
He encounters different people. Like he encounters his uncle again, which I think would like bring out the fear that he experienced before. I think he would probably feel that again.
Mm.
But the fact that the story takes him there is the problem. Not that he reverts back to being that scared little boy. It's the fact that within like 5 minutes, he puts himself back into that situation.
Yep.
By like teaming up with Ashihara and then getting to the top of the castle or the pagoda, whatever.
Yep.
And negotiating with the guy to free Narumi and Shirogane. Like that's the issue, is that the story was constructed that way, and that we got to see these two sides of him like flipping back and forth like that so quickly.
Right.
So I think his character's fine, but it's we're just pushing through a lot of material here. We were just talking about Banana Fish. It's probably a similar case.
Yep.
That was what I was thinking about interjecting earlier.
Yep.
That was it.
I have a bit of the same feeling regarding Shirogane as well. About her feel, like sometimes she feel a bit soft for her character.
She feels what?
A bit soft for her character, yeah.
In what way?
So she's showing her emotions, which what we learned about her before is that she kind of the puppet who made own other puppets.
Yeah.
So she's supposed to be like emotionless. So the fact that she constantly shipping into like emotions, like caring about Narumi, for example, speak to her character, but it still feel a bit off to me.
I don't know. Didn't she and Narumi kind of have like a big breakthrough in the previous episode where he like really got through to her and pointed out to her like, you're not a puppet, you're a human being, and it's okay for you to feel. That kind of, to me, was what episode 3 was about for the two of them.
Right. I just think like it could take a bit more time for that to sink in before it just feels too quick for me.
Yeah, it definitely would take more time for somebody who's lived their entire life that way, and who had that belief about themselves reinforced from like a very young age. Like she was literally dehumanized.
Yep.
In the span like 4 episodes after meeting this Narumi guy, that would not be enough. Like no matter how handsome he is or how big his muscles are, like that would not be enough.
How warm his arm is. But actually like her story about like how warm the body is, like the person who hold her, that she can feel the warmth of the human. That little story is actually pretty good.
Was that in this episode?
That is in this episode, I think.
Okay.
I think she mentioned that when they was together in the cage.
Okay. I just don't remember that particular word being used, but I'm sure you're right. I don't have perfect memory.
All right. And we come to the big cliffhanging at the end.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
The whole lead
Uh,
up to it with them being in the burning house and stuff, and like, oh no, are they dead? I was like, give me a break. There's no way anyone's dying. This is episode 4. But then the actual reveal with just
yeah,
the arm, I
yeah.
was like, what?
So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't think he's die. I maybe if he die, maybe they will try the way to make him become a puppet. That
Yeah,
that that could be interesting, but I don't think that he died. He just lost an amp.
right. Yeah. Well, I think you're on the money though. Like he's not dead, but in terms of his missing arm, they're gonna outfit him with a puppet arm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
That's as well.
maybe like Masaru will be able to control his puppet arm.
Huh.
Because we see Masaru he like kind of picks up puppeteering
Yeah.
in this episode, which again is
Just
like completely
just by
ridiculous.
looking,
Yeah.
just by looking,
Yeah.
I had to shred that.
But like I mean, maybe they'll just do, the Full Metal Alchemist thing. Here's a fake arm. Go crazy.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of interesting if they gave him an arm that like Masaru was able to control. So they'd be like working together whenever he fought. Something
Mm.
like that.
Yep.
I don't know. That might be kind of cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely going to get some sort of artificial arm,
Yep.
which will almost certainly have like ties to puppetry, given
Mm.
the nature of the
The
show.
team. That's right. But I can say that the ending, the cliffhanger is pretty striking.
Yeah, for sure. I was weirded out.
Yeah. For in a good way.
Yeah, it made me want to watch the next episode, which
Yeah.
is good because like I might not have wanted to watch it if it hadn't had that cliffhanger.
Yeah. Right.
Although watching it every week means I get to listen to Bump of Chicken every week because they're the band who does the opening theme, and I think they're cool.
Yeah. I don't even remember the OP of this show.
It has all I know is that Bump of Chicken performs it. They're the ones who did the first OP and first ED for Sangatsu no Lion.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah, I really, 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 really love that OP and that ED for that show.
Mm. Mm.
Uh,
All right.
For this show, it's fine. I don't really care, but
Mm.
I like Bump of
Mm.
Chicken.
All right. All right. I gonna have a watch on that OP again.
Yeah, just don't bother. Just go back and watch the the Sangatsu one. It's so good.
Is that the one that go with da 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 da?
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one. I mean like all of the OPs of Sanyasu is pretty good.
Yeah, they are actually all four. I think my least favorite is the
Says-
second core of the first season.
The second goal of the first season. All right. Is that the one with Sayonara? Bystander?
Sayonara, that's something, something, something.
Yeah.
That's Yuki singing.
All right. So
She
you
also
don't like
she
that?
also did the first core of the second season,
Yeah. All right.
but I like that one better. So
I actually like that song. That's Sayonara Bystander. That's the name.
Bystander, okay,
Yeah. I actually like that song.
it's all right.
Yeah.
I like Yuki. She's got a cool voice.
I don't like the way that she start, but when it come to the chorus, it's pretty good.
Oh, we started talking about Sangatsu OPs
Yeah,
instead of Karakuri Circus.
we discussing about the anime voice,
Right.
singing voice. All right. Do you have any other notes on the shows? Karakuri Circus.
I do, but I don't really care to bring them up.
All right.
It's just small
yeah.
things.
I think the whole act is resolving for now. So the next episode gonna be how they handle the Narumi characters, how he handle his missing arm, or even if he alive or dead.
Right. And they'll probably, I have to imagine that they'll get into some sort of training for Masaru
Right,
because
right,
of
right.
the talent for puppetry that he showed. They'll, Shirogane will
Yeah,
probably be like, I'm gonna make you the best puppet master ever.
yeah, because it's run in his blood, so he gonna do everything. I actually when watching the episodes, I think it would be cool if the main character Narumi is dead, stay dead.
Um,
But
that would be
but
a little
I
too quick.
yeah, but I know it take balls for show to actually kill off your main characters.
There's a pretty
Like
famous anime that was made within the last, let's say, 15 years that killed off one of its main characters around
in
episode 7 or something.
right episode 7. Do I
You know
know
which
about that show?
I don't know whether you've seen it or not. I think a lot of anime fans have seen it, but in case you haven't, I don't want to spoil it.
Uh, is that just having one core?
I'm not going to tell you how many episodes the show has.
All right.
I'm not. I'm not going to give any hints.
it's making me really hard to guess what show that is.
Okay, it's
Alright.
very famous. But apart from the fact that it's famous and popular, I won't say anything.
All right, all right. I don't. For now, I don't think I'm gonna get that, but I will get back to you when I think of some titles.
Okay.
All right.
How about Lain?
All right. How about Lens? We get to the final 3 episodes of Lens, so we basically finished one of the most confusing anime in the history of anime.
Yep.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well,
I do. It does resolve itself somewhat clearly.
all
But
right.
there's still plenty of weirdness to be analyzed.
All right, because that the first question I'm gonna ask you is that, do you think it's end conclusively? And you just kind of answer that.
I wouldn't say that it ends conclusively. No,
All right.
because Lane's ultimate fate is like
Oh, in the air.
she's a computer program who's uh, confined herself to the Wired, which is now empty.
Yep.
Um, or perhaps it's some other. I think it's the Wired that she's confined herself to, and nobody's using it now.
Mm-hmm.
Something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But
Yep.
then she is able to cross over. She realizes after a series of conversations with her alter ego, like her other self,
Yep.
that she's not alone because she can cross over to the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So that is kind of where it's left open ended.
Yep.
That's
All
why
right.
it's not a conclusive ending.
All right. Um. Oh, so I see what you mean. I remember like after watching the show the last time, I make a note that the god characters, Eri Masami, ended very abruptly, and I was like I know what to expect when it came to like how the show handled him in the big climax, but it still surprised me that the show doesn't it very abrupted, that the show doesn't try to to end his act at all, to end the fight between him and Len at all.
It does end the fight between him and Lane at the end of episode 12. That's the end.
Is that the end that he be that he tried to be tangible, that he tried to be like visible, to he tried to have a body, and then what happened?
She traps him in that prison of technology, that prison of devices that were in her room.
All right, I think that was him who wanted to do that.
No, that was her. She pushed all that stuff into him in order to trap him
All right, wow,
to
right,
protect Alice
all right.
because he was attacking the two of them.
Yeah, Because I was thinking that the show was more concerning of Lain and Alice Arishus more than dealing with him,
Um,
which is actually which is a good way to develop that, because I think that presents some of the emotional core that the show lack.
what, her relationship with Arisu?
Yeah, her relationship with her issues. Yes.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that a bit.
What about it?
All right, because
She says that, like, you're my best friend, you're my only friend, I love you.
yeah, because in the last few episodes, it's Arisu who feels strange that like everything around her have like they been erased, they been reset,
Right.
but she still have the memories, but she also realized that memories have been erased, have been altered.
I was very surprised by that when it was revealed in episode 11.
Yeah, so she actually like goes to Len's house to see what happened, and she see like all the mess, the mess of the house. That and it's then that it's revealed that yeah, Len kind of reset everyone's memory but her, because she's the only one who see Len as Len's real bod Len's bodies in real life at herself, not as Len in the wild. Is that
Yeah,
is that make sense of what I said?
kind of. Yeah, but the thing about her, she explains to Arisu in episode 12, like, you're my only friend. You're the only one who connected with me outside of the wired.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, that, like, it makes sense to me, and it's satisfying. But
Mm.
the particular language that the show uses, and I am watching it in a secondary language, like, not its original. So who knows what the literal meaning is? But I kind
Mm.
of got the feeling that, based on Lane's description of, like, Arisu's the only one who's connected with her outside of the wired, that the other girls would count, or that her father would count, or
Right.
that Tado-kun perhaps would count,
Right.
as someone who connected with her outside of the wired.
Right.
But it seemed, that's up to Lain, I guess, as a person, as an individual, to decide what connection really means and who qualifies and who doesn't. And
Emotionally.
yeah, well, to reach a certain level of emotional connection, yeah. And it's true that Alice is her best friend. She always tries to include her in at school, and she invites her out to Siberia, and she always notices when Lane's, like,
Change.
when her personality changes, or maybe when she's just feeling down, or she takes notice of that because she's her friend. So it makes sense that Lain would be particularly attached to her.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, Lain is just a computer program, right? That's what we're led to believe by these episodes. She really actually was born in the wired. She is a computer program, and she was given form by Masami.
Yep. In order to break the boundary between the wire and the real world,
Right. Which she does.
which she does, yes. But
That's-
she also form some kind of emotionals about her relations with the others and about herself. So she become aware of her existence in the real world.
Right. That's what's really going on during the entire show's run, when she's questioning, like, who am I really?
Yeah.
Is that the real me? Is this the real me? Et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. That's what's happening. That's an artificial intelligence, like a computer program given physical form, grappling with its existence.
That is exactly right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
it actually, it's, when you look back on it through that lens, it's very satisfying to think about.
Yep.
That the show's head in the clouds pretentiousness, has actually just been a very artsy expression of an interesting and meaty like question, like a philosophical issue.
That's right, and that actually explains some of the not even the strangeness, but the coldness of people around her as well. Like even her friends or her teacher will look at her the different way because she feel different because basically she's just a computer program, so she just don't know how to interact with other people.
Yeah, I would say that her mother is probably
Come on.
candidate number one for somebody who
Right.
treats her coldly,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
her mother knows, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
I don't know whether the sister knows,
Yeah.
but we don't know much about her in general.
Yeah, talking about the sisters because yeah, like like I talk like I said to you, I feel the sister is one of the least developed big characters in a sense that they spend one episode to see for us to see everything in her eyes, and then they drop it completely, and they never mention that again.
Yeah. Well, we see her pop every once in a while, going beep beep beep.
Yeah, that's it's kind of creepy. It's like one of the most creepy thing in the shows. Yeah. And in the end of this up the episode 13, so like in the end of the series run, we see Arisu's older version of herself. And at first, I would thought that it was Lain sisters.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, so when they engage in the conversation, did we know that it was Arisu? But yeah, but it raised a question though: is that intentional? Is that the show intentional that they put Arisu older version as Lain sisters designs?
It's hard to say. I kind of, I mean, the resemblance is so striking that I kind of feel as though they're trying to say,
It's
something, but I
yeah.
have no idea what that would be.
Yeah, and if that the case, if Arisu older image is Lain sister, that is it making any sense? Is it like is it Lain's intentional to have that characters in her house at her sister's? So it's been like she not even real in the first place. She's some kind of Lain imaginations to make someone to make Arisu's older image as her older sisters.
I don't know. There's no way I could say for sure whether that's
Yeah,
what they're going for. I don't know.
right.
But
Yeah,
I
that
will say that the conversation with Arisu was, that's very satisfying as well
I
for
agree.
Lain to, after she develops the ability to cross over into the real world.
Yep.
And that we only see her do that a couple times.
Mhm.
I think her conversation with her dad
Yep.
is probably one of those times, or maybe he's accessing the wired, because we know that he's a gigantic techno geek
Yep.
from that scene, and I think the very first episode where he's like behind that wall of monitors when Lain goes into his study to talk to him. So he's big into technology like that, which is probably why he was able to. He says to his daughter that he loved her, not in these episodes, but earlier, before he leaves. So that's probably why he's like still seeking her out, or perhaps she is seeking him out. But then apart from that, we just see her talking to Arisu, and that the show would make time for that conversation is very nice. And I think Arisu was with the teacher.
What with teachers?
This may be me confusing different characters in Lain again because they look so similar. But remember how she had a crush on that teacher?
Oh right. Uh,
I kind of think it was that guy.
but they was in similar age at that
I
time.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I feel like
Mm.
she was like a young. I feel like she was a young woman, and he
In
was a
his,
little older.
all right. Uh, all right. I will have a look back on that.
I I, I do think it
I
would kind of make sense for them to be together because it's an alternate reality, first of all,
yep.
and
Mm,
she mentions that she is a teacher now. She says she
yep.
first mistakes Lane for one of the kids that she she student taught.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Right.
so now she's like pursuing the same career path as this guy potentially, and
Mm.
in addition, the stigma of her being so in love with this teacher and that being a rumor that was spread, that's removed because the world has kind of been reset.
Right. Right.
So, but it could be just some dude.
It kind of makes sense, especially for shows like Lanes to do that. So I can see that happens.
Yeah, and I mean, if it does, then it's okay because you know their relationship is not tainted by all the stuff that came before, like all the negative feelings that Arisu had about that situation as a result of Lane's prying.
And I actually kind of like the ending of Lens for the fact that like for the first 10 episodes we see this show's lack of emotional resonance, but they actually spend their last 3 episodes to gain more of the emotions. So like you said, the conversation between Lane and then the older Arisus is very satisfying for me on the emotional level, because because I know how much Lane have been gone through and how much he want to see Arisu now, and Arisu is some kind is in some way kind of recognize her.
Right. Yes. So that
Yeah.
the fact that she kind of recognizes her gives like legitimacy to everything that we've just watched. Even
Mm.
though there's been a reset, we know that somehow they're still linked because
Yeah.
the the Lane's consciousness or her some version of her still exists in the minds of the people that loved her.
Right. Right.
And I think that's maybe an argument that the show is actually making on some level because there's a lot of time spent talking about in these last 3 episodes. Lain says a lot of stuff like, "Oh, there's a bunch of different versions of me, and they all exist in people's minds. Their
Mm.
perceptions of me are other versions of me. But
Yep.
are they the real me? Am I the real me?
Yeah.
All that. But I think that by having Arisu kind of remember her,
Yep.
the show is commenting on that idea in a like a more positive light.
Mhm.
That it's true. It actually is true, perhaps, that other versions of you exist in people's heads. But that shouldn't be a cause of like worry or consternation for you. That shouldn't drive you to question who you are and whether you're real or whether you exist or whether you matter. You do matter, and the proof is that there are other versions of you in other people's heads. The people who love you and care about you, they'll remember you.
All right. So I have two things regarding just what you say. First, I think the very core basics of Lens is that I think they mentioned in some of their dialogues, and even in the screen they put up on screen that their ideas seem to be the existence of someone is based on other people memories. So
Right.
if you try to manipulate, if you try to reset, so that all of these memories of that person is gone, their existence is cease to exist as well. So that basically what happened to Lane afterwards, and so basically like her existence is gone. That's the show argument. So by having Arishu kind of recognize her further, like uh in against that argument.
Is against that argument?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in favor for that argument or is in against that argument. Uh,
I don't know. I think the show's just going for something along the lines of like the people who you meet, the friendships that you form, and the relationships that you're a part of. Those are, they're lasting.
yeah.
They're permanent, and they're important, and they matter.
So
So
even
you should pursue that sort of thing. Like even if you're a computer program,
all right, yeah.
try to
So
try to connect with others.
yeah, yeah. Basically, I get what they mean now. So even without memories of that person, the feeling with that person is still the same.
Yeah, and
Uh,
perhaps that is its own kind of memory. Even if you try
that's
to
right.
if you try to reset the memories of everyone on Earth, so that they forget you and you can create a better world that way.
Yep.
To the people who loved you most and who you loved most, those memories will persist. On some level, you do make your mark, in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that message is kind of speak to me on a personal level because, um, as I mentioned to you, that my father passed away like few years ago, and for now, what I think about him, is that like he still exists because the people around him still remember him, and I think it's the kind of life that it's worth it because people like after he passed away, people still remember him.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Right.
Lane. I mean, it seems like Lane would make the argument that your dad is still he's still alive because
In a,
people,
yeah,
yeah, in a way,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because people remember him. His memory is preserved, and so his consciousness perhaps is preserved.
yeah. Well, that
And
that a bit.
is that real? Is that real? Like, is his consciousness actually preserved because people remember him?
Yeah,
That's a little harder to say, but
yeah. That's a bit far fetched.
yeah. But it's I think if you get a little less specific and a little less focused, and you just take the sentiment,
Yeah.
then
Speak. Speaking of it in a spiritual way. Yes.
yeah. Well, Lane tries to balance spirituality and technology, and even
Right.
integrate them,
Yeah. Right. Right.
bring them
Right.
together, because it's always talking about God in the context of religion.
Yeah.
Masami was supposed to be God,
Yeah.
but Lane
Turn
ends
out
up.
he isn't.
Well, it turns out that he is, but he's not the actual God, which is what
Yeah.
Lane. That's that whole conversation at the end of episode 12. Lane
Mm-hmm.
kind of turns the tables on him and says, "Well, what about before the Wired existed?
Yep.
What were you then? You couldn't have been God then."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. The second point, that was just the first point. The second point I want to mention is the alien. Remember
Yeah.
when? Remember when? Yeah, you because you said to me that like the alien was like some of the like important part of the shows.
I just remember in episode 2, there's when Lane first connects to the Wired, there is a mention from one of the users on the Wired who she hears, who talks about a boy in a red and green striped shirt.
Yeah,
And then we
and
get mentions of him as the show goes on, and then the alien shows up to Lane in a red and green
right,
striped shirt in like episode 9 or something, and then she
right.
shows up. That you can take it from here.
Yeah, and then she show up in that uniforms when she's speaking to Arisus. So we see like we see Lens, but in that uniform and in the way that we know that the alien does that before. So it comes to a question that what does the aliens mean in all this? What does he do here?
I I think the alien can pretty much be written out of the show, and you don't lose much.
I Well, I do think he has some kind of special meaning which we can never figure out.
I mean, I have a theory.
Alright,
My
tell me
theory
the
is that the alien is Lain.
All right.
The fact that Lain, because she's part of the Wired, she can exist like everywhere,
Yep.
and be like privy to everyone's conversations,
Yep.
like gathering information, like too much for her body to handle.
Ye-
The fact that a woman early on in the show says, like, she complains about the fact that he was just standing there in her child's doorway.
mhm.
Um, it seems to me that the alien, like, showing up in so many different places and just being an observer,
Yeah. Right. Like.
never speaking, the same way that Lain is an observer.
Yep. Hmm.
It seems to me that the alien might represent Lane's function as like an omnipotent being.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Right.
and the scene in episode 9 or 10, whatever it is, when Lain sees the alien, that's when she is at her most desperate, like trying to figure out her identity, who or what she is.
Right.
So when she sees that alien, it might be the show like commenting on Lane's identity
Looking.
crisis by
Yeah.
having her look at herself.
Look at her. Looking at her in the mirror.
Yeah. Like
Right.
the two different parts of her consciousness. The part of her that is more human and is struggling to figure out who or what she is, versus the part of her that is more artificial, more of
Yeah.
a computer program, which is just looking back at her.
Right. Well, it makes a lot of sense to me. It actually explained to me a lot. So.
I mean, I think it's a reasonable interpretation, but at the same time, I do think that the alien, in the grand scheme of the show's its themes and the statements that it's trying to make, and all the different like the various symbolism that it pulls out, I think the alien can be pushed off to the side. I don't think it's like totally critical to your understanding of the show.
Right. We have another small loose thread about the Man in Black.
Yeah,
And
that was interesting.
yeah, and the businessman.
No, this isn't the businessman. This is the gray-haired man. The businessman is the one who is the member of the
Yeah.
Knights
So
who gets
yeah.
killed.
I got mixed up. It is the other man.
Yeah, that we can call him the other man. I started thinking of him as the gray-haired man just because his hair was different from the other guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So they got killed off, and the reason they got killed off because they see Lens. Which.
Yeah, we do see that the Gaijin man in black with the lighter
Yep.
colored hair, the blue eyes, he looks like into the other guy's headset and he sees Lain. That I think doesn't really represent anything. That's just
No.
Lain is
Yep.
like everywhere, you know.
Right.
And then he dies too.
Mhm.
I'm curious though, like their fate is sad and everything because they die horribly. What was in the briefcase, and
Money.
who's the gray-haired man?
All right. He's the one who tried to destroy the wire.
I thought it was
he-
Lane's job to do that. She was supposed to break down the barrier.
All right. Len is supposed to break down the barrier, but he's supposed to destroy the wire. So
No,
he.
I
all
thought
right,
he
right.
was supposed to destroy the barrier between the wired.
No,
and
no, no.
the-
So he was the one who against the proposition of blurry the boundary between the wire and the real world. So he's the one who against all that. So that's why I think he sent on the man in black to kill the
the
the knight,
businessman.
the businessman, and
Right.
The housewife and the hacker.
I definitely remember him saying to Lane that he was against the blurring of those two
Yeah.
realms. But then in this episode, it seemed to me, and I guess I just misinterpreted him, but it seemed to me that he wanted to blur the two lines because he says to the man in black, something wonderful is going to happen.
Yeah. I have no idea what that is either. What that he want to do either. But it will remain like ambitious for now because like right afterwards, Len just reset everything. So this man in black is alive again. So it's not actually a sad life that they live. because
I don't know. I think it was kind of sad. They died like violently and terribly.
yeah, but afterward they come back to life.
I don't.
Even
I don't. Is it? They're not coming back to life, right? Like Lain is resetting
yeah,
time, or perhaps even the
like
universe.
yeah, that's right. So
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 it's
see
not as though they've
basically
come back.
yeah, but like there's a version of themselves who live happily without the involvement of the wire.
Right, but it's not the same. Like we as the audience, we see
Them
the
die
Men in
horribly.
Black, the Men in Black before the reset, and the construction workers who look like them afterwards, and we think,
Right.
oh, they've come back to life because we're on the outside looking in and perceiving
Yep.
them to look so similar. But she's actually reset like the existence pretty much
Yep.
for everyone. So they're, I suppose they're different people. Like they're the same. Maybe they have the same soul,
Yep.
but they're not the same
All
like
right.
human
So
beings.
we're talking about identity again. So
Yeah, well, not just identity, but like existence.
yeah. So I kind of understand what you say, and I kind of understand that this show is specifically designed to ask us about the existence
Yeah,
of everyone, of like basically of what makes us human, of who we are. Am I the one who's speaking with you, the real me, all this kind of stuff?
right. Yeah, all of the stuff about I personally I have a dislike for the that idea that
Right.
like there are multiple versions of as many people as you've talked to, as many conversations as you've had, there's that many versions of you existing in people's consciousness. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that a lot of books or films or TV shows that approach that idea do it very well,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it's such a difficult concept, and to
Right.
represent it visually, literally, in any way is almost impossible.
Right.
Lane does a decent job of it, but it's
Yep.
still not exactly what I wanted. I think that the themes that Lane explores better are technology and also isolation.
You're right. Yep. Agree.
Lane is a severely isolated character, and I think that's what causes her like identity breakdown. In addition to
Right.
her being a computer program, she also shuts herself away
Mm.
from people.
Right.
So that's I really like all the scenes where she's just like alone and it's quiet and it's just her and her computer, and the facial expressions that she's given by the animators. She just looks like in pain.
Yeah.
She's so lonely.
But it consists of almost 85 to 90% of LED screen time. She's
Yeah.
always being alone, being with the computer, get wired by the computer.
Yeah.
So
And even when
yeah,
she's with other people, you get the sense that she's alone just because of
yes,
how different she is.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
But
So
I do think that questions of identity and existence are Lane tackles them in
mm,
a reasonably entertaining and smart way.
well, for me that was the show the best. The tackle of existence and identity. For me is what the show the best, and uh their interpretation of the internet, the information of the world, the technology is the cream on top for me.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes.
I would have liked a little more about the like humanity being totally linked, like having one consciousness, a linked consciousness.
Right.
There's mention is made of that, like
Mm,
that's the way that humanity used to be. And Lane says to Arisu, I think at one point, I just made everything the way it was before. I just brought us back to the way we used to be,
mhm.
all linked together with no boundaries to separate us.
I All right. I think that's one theme that the show lacks, or the show doesn't want to dwell itself to, is that the advance of the human, when they, like you said, when they use the technology, and how that gonna advance the human race in general. So like everyone connected together. How that's gonna be? So I think that theme is they going to explain in that area in Technolize.
Hmm.
All right, because remember in Technolize they like in the last few episodes they actually try to show us how the human evolutions into like like other race other than human. So I think it's kind of like a continuing theme to learn as well.
Huh.
Mm,
I mean, I've seen Technolize, but I guess my memory of it isn't strong enough to
mm,
make a link between these two shows. Certainly, they're. I mean, in Technolize, you have the shapes, the people who like merge with robots.
yep. Hmm.
Um, and I guess I kind of do remember there being something about everyone's minds kind of like fused together.
Mm,
Um, those bad guys who
yep.
somebody comes into like the pool room and shoots them or
Right.
something. I don't know. I can't really speak to that until I rewatch Technolize one day.
Yeah. It's more about the idea of human evolutions, because in Land they can grab that idea and make like make more of this as well. So
Well,
like
they
how
talk
they
about it a lot in Lain. That's what Masami wants, is for humanity to leave their bodies behind and evolve.
right.
He uses
And
that language specifically.
yeah, but I mean like we didn't actually see any of that happen because Len stopped
Lain
that from
stop.
happening.
Yeah, Lain stops him. Yeah.
So what I mean is that in Technolize they actually do some of the exploration of that, of how human just like um uh, uh just like leave the body behind in order to evolve. So that basically my take on that.
Okay. I just have to rewatch it. Like I understand that there are some links between Lain and Technolize. People, kind of fusing with technology and
Hmm.
humanity
Human,
reaching a
right?
different stage in its development and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, and
All
they're
right.
both, they got character designs by Abe.
All right. The last question is how you gonna rate the shows?
I don't care out of 10.
All right.
It's good. I liked it. It's my favorite of the trio. Lain, Haibane Renmei, and Technolize. I think I like Lain the most.
Right.
I was very impressed by the last 3 episodes. They're kind of cerebral enough to mesh with everything that came before, but they're also clear enough to wrap things up nicely.
Right. All right.
Uh,
I'm glad.
yeah, I thought it was great.
All right.
I would not say that it's on par with my favorite 90s series, which are like Bebop, Berserk, Utena, Now and Then Here and There.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not quite on that level for me.
Yep.
But I think it's really good for sure.
All right. Top 25 perhaps.
No.
All right.
Nope. Not that high. Sorry.
So just for you, the audience know. So the fact that it's not reaching Whooper top 25 mean that it's even lower than Keon. Yeah, the fact.
Keon's great.
All right. Well,
How about
it's,
you? I know this is one of your favorites of all time, right?
yeah, that it is. Now I'm thinking of switching it between it and Mushishi, but
Oh my god. Mushishi is incredible.
I know
I love
this
that
is
show.
this is incredible too. But yeah, so basically, I wasn't let down or anything by watching Len again. It's still asking me a lot of questions, and even now in my third time viewing, I still don't get many of the facts.
You
That
still
is so
don't get
crazy.
many of the facts?
I still don't get what the alien is. I still don't get
I
many of
think
the small plot point. Thank you, Whooper, for for explain me the role of the alien. It actually makes sense. So now I just get the fact, but like the others lose threat.
I think that if I went back through the show, I could make a stab at explaining literally everything.
All
If
right.
I wrote down every line of dialogue, so I could like control F and tab through my document to find, every single time that they used a specific term or phrase,
All right.
I
If
might be able to figure that out. I don't know.
if you live it for 6 or 7 years and watch it again, see if you remember any of that.
Well, I think that that's been a big part of my interest and appreciation of the show is kind of as a puzzle.
Mm.
Lain definitely does not hold out its arms and like welcome you and hug you, like give you a warm hug as an audience member.
Right.
It wants
Right.
it wants you to like work hard to understand what it's saying and perhaps
Yeah.
at times doubt whether it's saying anything.
Yeah. Well, but
Um,
I for me one thing that I appreciate Lane is the fact that it was made 21 years ago in 1997, and some of its theme is even more relevant now, especially the way it explore the technology and how the technology can influence people.
yeah, it's certainly forward-thinking series.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff about like Protocol 7 and
Uh-huh.
the rotation of the Earth on its axis having a certain electromagnetic field or
Yeah.
something to which all people were used to be connected.
Yeah.
Uh, that I think I would have liked a little bit more of that.
Uh-huh.
But the problem is that it's really hard to deliver that sort of information
Right.
in a television show because then what are you putting on screen?
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, if all you're doing is like saying a whole bunch of words and
Yep.
delivering a whole bunch of like a big speech packed with
Yep.
information, then what do
Well,
you do on screen? And
le-
I think Lane did a reasonable job of it. They had
that
those little
that's
bits
right.
where like a narrator would come on
Mm.
and just start talking about this stuff, and you'd be like,
Right.
what's going on? Where's the story? But
Yeah.
it was never so frustrating that it made me want to like give up or anything.
Right. 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 Yeah, I actually think that Len does a good job on that. They sometimes when we didn't know about Len, we can think that we might get into the wrong series. Like we get into the documentary series about some conspiracy, but yeah, it's Len, so
Yeah,
it'll make
that was a fun episode. It was
yeah
interesting.
yeah right. So to the audience, next week we're gonna do the new classic shows, and me and Booper had decided to take on the OVA show. The name is Giants Robo.
Yep.
It's a ace. I think it's have like eight or 10
7,
episodes.
right?
7. But
I'm
the
almost sure
length,
that it's 7.
but the length of that is like from 40 to an hour long. So
Yeah.
I would reckon that we try each episode at a time.
Yeah, just one at a time because they're all like short films pretty much.
Right.
Like half-length films kind of. And
Yep.
they produced one episode every year for
All
7
right.
years.
Yep. And
So they're probably going to look pretty damn good.
and regarding that, in our classics category, we have never watched a major shows,
Yeah, no mecha.
no mecha, no action show. So it's a bit of refreshing for us as well to watch and review this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me
It'll
too.
be about the same amount of material because 2 episodes of Lane is kind of like
Yep.
50 minutes.
Right. Oh, but it feels like 3 hours.
No, I never,
Every-
with the exception of that one episode with the sister,
Alright.
I never felt as though Lane was taking like forever to finish.
Oh, that's good to hear, because for me watching Lane is like one of the most like the fastest hour that I watch, because by the time it ended I was like, oh my god, I wasn't ready for it to end every single time.
Well,
So
that's the That's the sign of an engaging series.
Right.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, so anime this week isn't that bad, isn't that good either from what we've been
Oh
covering.
man, are you man? When like fall is dire for me. I just like Run with the Wind and pretty much nothing else.
uh have you been picking up Double Decker?
I mean, I've seen 2 episodes and I'm gonna watch more, but I haven't
Right.
been keeping up. I haven't been keeping up with anything except these 4 shows and Bunny Girl and
Good man.
no, I haven't kept up with that either. Honda-san, the skeleton bookstore worker.
All right, really? Because
Yeah,
I just watched like the first 2 episodes of it. It's alright. Not that something
I
that I hold my breath on, but I will watch some of it, some more of it.
it's certainly not going to win any awards for ambition, but it's a very light watch,
Mm. Mm.
and I like how strange it is.
Yep.
It's not like wacky like Zombieland Saga.
Mm.
It's just very odd,
Yep.
which I like.
All right.
But yeah, it's not the kind of thing that's going to save a season or anything like that.
Yep. All right. So we're at the end of this postcard now. So we hope to see you next week with the arrival of Giant Robo.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Thank you very much for listening, guys.
Have a great week.
Yep. See ya.
Bye bye.